Hello, Hoops fans. Christ Dodson right here, coming to you live from the Smoothie King. No, I said Smoothie King Center. I done messed up. Hello, Hoops fans. Dodson, Christ Dodson here with the Sports Business Classroom post-game review with three of the sharpest minds in Summer League. We've got to my right James Huston, Ben Pearce, and John Costa joining the show to break down the 82-73 New Orleans Pelicans win over the Phoenix Suns. Opening things up to the panel, the Pelicans led practically wire to wire. They only trailed for like 3 minutes over the whole game. Looking at that, how much stock do y'all guys put into this performance by the Pelicans?
I mean, look, man. I think the Pelicans definitely had a good performance out there. But when we look at the Suns, didn't have two of their really important players out there, so it's hard to put a lot of stock into it and say that the Pelicans are a far better team than the Suns here. But they were missing a lot of the key players. That's
it, Ben. John, y'all want to jump in? What did you think about the Pelicans and maybe even the Suns today, if that's your team?
Right. So I think for the Pelicans, I was impressed by Tevian Jones. He's a guard, a wing with really good size. Shot it very efficiently tonight. He was 5 for 9 from 3. Finished with 16 points on the night, which is what you want to see from a wing who's competing for maybe a two-way spot on the team next year. And I was also impressed with Carlo Matkovic. He was really strong inside, grabbed rebounds, and you definitely felt his presence out there. And I think those two are a big reason why they won the game tonight. But I was a little bit less impressed with Jordan Hawkins. We know he has the skills and the raw talent. That's undeniable, but I think that he lacked a little bit of effort tonight, and it showed with some lazy passes. He finished the game with 6 turnovers, which is not what you want to see from a young guy who you expect to be a key player for you in the future. But they did finish with the win tonight, so I guess that's good for them.
Right, they had the 14th overall pick on the floor. They also had the 8th overall pick from the previous draft in Dyson Daniels. What'd you think about them? And then I know you're a big Suns fan. You're up here. Go ahead and tell us what you thought about the Suns, especially since they're playing this back-to-back.
Yeah, first off, good mention, Ben, about the Pelicans. Obviously, their 2 stars, Dyson Daniels and Jordan Hawkins, didn't play well tonight. They still got the win. Flipping gears to the Suns a little bit, Hunter Hale, amazing performance, 21 points, insane. He shot, I believe, 6 for 12 from 3, which is crazy. 6 3-pointers. He's a D2 guy. He started out at Central Michigan as a walk-on, transferred in to Grand Valley State, and he had a real good performance for the Suns tonight, especially missing those 2 big guys. I know Toumani Camara, their big draft pick, 52nd overall, 2nd round. This guy, he's a real scorer, but missing him was huge tonight. They had to look for other guys to score, step up. He was first-team All-Atlantic 10 at Dayton, as well as first-team All-Defense, so he brings a presence in here, as well as Jordan Goodwin, who they got in the trade for Bradley Beal over from the Wizards. So he's a big 3-and-D guy. He's a big point guard position. So missing those 2 guys was huge, but definitely Hunter Hale stepped up and picked up the slack tonight. Unfortunately, a losing effort. They had to go against a lot of talent with the Pelicans, but like you mentioned before, Pelicans didn't play well tonight, still came away with the victory. So definitely a fun game to watch.
Right, it was just short-handed. Ben, I'm going to throw this one to you. There's a lot of talk about the Suns. The New Orleans Pelicans had 4 contributors who they expect to be on the opening day roster, maybe even contributing in the playoffs. What did you see from them that maybe makes you second-guess the Pelicans sticking with what they have going forward?
Well, I think that with the 2 picks they've had in the past 2 years, I think they want to see some strides from those guys throughout Summer League moving forward for the rest of the summer here. Dyson Daniels, he's improved a little bit. You see his defense is great, but you would like to see him improve his offense and score a little bit more and take some strides in Summer League and take over some games maybe, because that's what you want in a lottery pick. And then Jordan Hawkins, again, like I said, he has the skills. He has all the talent that you want in a young guy. You just want to see him keep the effort up throughout Summer League. And I think if they both do that, they can help the team this year.
Right, and we all watched the game. I'll ask you for some specifics. What does he need to work on? Because his defense is there. His shooting seems to be coming around. His handles might be what's the most concerning. Do y'all agree, disagree? Where you at?
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with that. I mean, just to kind of touch on the Dyson and Jordan Hawkins situation. I mean, Jordan Hawkins as a player who's going to have the ball out there, had 6 turnovers, didn't really look like felt comfortable out there. And then also just want to touch on Dyson Daniels really quick because he's a second-year player, right? And Ben talked about we want to see him make that jump, especially in Summer League. This guy was on the official roster of the Pelicans last year playing, and now he's in the Summer League playing against this Suns team, which, most of these players probably won't be making the official roster. And he really struggled. Didn't really step up as a leader, so I definitely just wanted to touch on that. But yeah, Jordan Hawkins ended up missing his first 8 shots. Had a big donut in the second quarter, man. I mean, you don't want that from your 14th pick.
No, it's a little bit of rust. They've got to knock that off. We all know the chaos of Summer League is going to affect some of these guys. Their second-year players are supposed to do better than the first. Who else stood out to you? Either team, pick which one. Who stood out to you and showed you maybe the maturity of an NBA game? They just need more time.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I wanted to go back to Hunter Hale.
Yeah.
I think he had a really good game. I think he had the best game out there tonight. Obviously, we hear his story. He went from walk-on to Division II to transferring back Division I. But what was consistent over his career in college was that he was a winner. And I think that's something to key in on as they look to add additions to their roster. Tonight, obviously, he finished with, I think, 20 points on an efficient clip, and he's a really gritty player. But at the same time, he's not all over the place. He has really good decision-making. We saw that in his passes out the pick and roll. And so he was definitely the bright spot for the Suns, and I would like to see him continue that success throughout Summer League and hopefully make his way into a two-way or onto the roster because we know that the Suns need some more depth.
While we're on the topic of the Suns, I definitely just want to give some love to the big man. The big man, Trey Jemison, was a monster out there. Out of the Phoenix Suns grabbed 10 offensive rebounds. He was responsible for 5 of them. So he was a monster on the glass. And that energy is contagious, man. When you were watching the game, it just felt like the Phoenix Suns were just out hustling the Pelicans. And it didn't really look like the Pelicans could do anything about it. And that's all led by Trey Jemison and his energy in the glass. So you love to see it. Shout out to big man.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. I was actually just about to bring that up. My guy, Trey Jamison, undrafted out of UAB. He had 11 rebounds today, 9 points, almost a double-double. He was a beast on the glass. He was grabbing rebounds. He was getting physical. He was getting in the post. He was making great plays. So I'm glad you brought that up. Definitely a bright spot for this Suns, especially missing 2 key players.
Absolutely.
Right, and it seemed like the backcourts are both struggling. The front court battles, they actually were getting the rebounds. They were getting the points. Would y'all say that was some of the most fun action we've seen since we've been here with Carlo Makovich, the Suns battling like that? It was just so much energy, and they were putting on a show for us.
Absolutely, man. They were putting on a show. It was a real back and forth game, man. And then the Pelicans ended up being able to pull it through.
Right, looking forward, both teams have 2 more games. It would be really tough for either one to make it to the championships rounds. What would you want to see from the Phoenix Suns going forward to maybe see how they would mature this roster and maybe find somebody that could come into training camp?
Yeah, definitely. We mentioned those 2 two-way spots. They have most of their roster figured out, but there's still those 2 two-way spots up for grab. Obviously, the front runners, Jordan Goodwin and Toumani Camara, those guys should be coming back soon. I know Toumani was just resting today. Jordan's dealing with the shoulder strain, but hopefully we'll see him soon. And working those guys into the rotation because obviously they were shorthanded today, missing those 2 key guys. That'll be huge for them moving forward. And the Pelicans, I mean, they didn't really have a good game either. I mean, Jordan Hawkins, we mentioned, had the big turnovers. Dyson Daniels didn't play to his full potential today. So they got a lot to figure out as well. It's not just the bright side with the win. They got a lot to talk about in the locker room tonight. So looking to see more from them moving forward, especially scoring the ball as well as facilitating and getting back on defense, making some plays.
Gotcha. Mr. Costa, start with you. Any closing thoughts on this game? Something maybe went overlooked here or underappreciated?
Man, I mean, I just want to say, kind of touch on what James was saying. Not every win is really a win, and I think this is exactly that situation with the Pelicans. Yeah, they got the win, but going back to the locker room as a coach, you still got to grill your players, and you have to be better. And then for the Phoenix Suns, absolutely. Want to see your start 2 players come back, and then you kind of hope that everything will be able to figure itself out with those 2 star players back.
Gotcha. Ben, Mr. Huston, closing thoughts?
So I agree, but I also think that it's important to understand the fact that they did win the game. that's important in this league. There's a lot of games. Not every game is going to be pretty.
So you put stock in winning, in building culture. Even if the summer league, go ahead and win and build that culture.
I think it's important to always find a way to win. Like, to see that their 2 star guys for the summer league didn't play great, and they still found a way to win. Sure, Phoenix didn't have all their summer league players, but at the end of the day, these are all pros, and New Orleans still found a way to win, and I think that's important too.
Yeah, I like what you said, especially with the Pelicans. A win is a win. I mean, they grinded out. They got the job done. Obviously, the Suns were shorthanded, but that's not an excuse. Like, Phoenix, I mean, they had their owner in the building. They had their head coach. They had Eric Gordon out there. I mean, there was a lot of faces. Larry Nance was in the crowd, Zion Williamson. So, like, we might have seen some nerves summer league from these guys coming out, but definitely for the Suns, I mean, I want to see more consistent scoring. We saw a good game from Hunter Hale, but other than that, I mean, Grant Sherfield, the rookie from Oklahoma, stepped up a little bit. He had 11 points, but I want to see more consistent scoring from them moving forward. Hopefully, like I said, Goodwin and Kamara coming back will help that moving forward. For the Pelicans, like you said, a win's a win, so in the end, something to be happy about.
Guys, appreciate you bringing the heat. We'll keep this short and sweet. My name's Chris Dodson for the Sports Business Classroom. That's our breakdown of the Pelicans win over the Suns. Until next time, thank you so much.